Alright, we're here. Game 3. CLG and TIP for what we learn in picks and bans. This pick and ban so far is pretty nice. I really like this by coming out of CLG. So CLG is in a situation where their Tristana, who they were using for previous few picks and bans, who gives a lot of pressure, she was banned out. And what they did was they followed up with a Jinx pick. And I mean, it's particularly interesting. It's good because they picked Kog'Maw, who Tristana's range was causing trouble for Apollo's Kog'Maw. So they banned out the Tristana, but CLG immediately followed up with a Jinx, who she doesn't have as much jumping and movement as Tristana, but her range is pretty much exactly the same as Kog'Maw, as long as she has mana. So it's not it's countering the advantage that Kog'Maw has in protecting Kog'Maw comps. So it was a very nice way to do that. So here we go. And this applies into the threat range, is the first thing we're talking about. So Team Impulse has a little bit longer range burst, which is about the same range as the Kog'Maw range. Both comps are very similar, but I'm actually, honestly, this one, Victor does more burst than Orianna, although he doesn't have a shield that he can put on Kog'Maw, like Orianna could put on Jinx. It's going to be very close in how it plays off, but I think the Braum combined with the Victor is going to give the Kog'Maw comp the edge compared to CLG's comp, especially in threat. So they can kind of counter the Jinx's rockets while Kog'Maw can still use his attacks, and that's a big pressure advantage going over to actual tip sides this time. Although I liked how CLG was playing it out and picks and bans, I still think tip went out here for more pressure. So, oh yeah, I could do that. Give it to tip. I didn't think of that. Maybe I think I'm going to be doing that from now on. So, engage wise, honestly, both comps pretty much have the same engage. They have somebody running in who's going to put down some CC, maybe knock somebody back, maybe knock someone around. It's very similar. I think it's so close that there's not really a strong edge to either side. So, Maokai, Echo can go in, Gnar can jump in, Alistar can headbutt in, Maokai can go in, Lee can go in, Ralph can go in if you want to with his Q. It's kind of like Lee. They're all pretty equal, and it all kind of involves going in. So we're just kind of say engage is equal, which is going to be pretty good. Poke and heal. CLG's poke is a little bit low. Tip's I think Kog'Maw and Victor are going to give that to Tip. Orianna can't poke as far as Victor, and Jinx's poke really isn't as strong as Kog'Maw ultimates. So that's definitely going to Tip. Pick. No team's really a pick in this. No long range hit. They're gonna just use, hiding in bushes and stuff, try to get picks on enemies. Yeah, they're pretty equal, and it's a nil, whatever. There's not a lot of pick, so we're not even really talking about that. Engage pressure. I think this is gonna be on the losing team, even though I'm putting Tip's pressure higher, which usually dictates the engage pressure. It's stronger because of the Braum shield, not necessarily because of the pressure. So Tip has a window where the pressure is stronger, but it's not all the time. Whereas CLG's, I think, is more consistent, and that's going to kind of allow them to have relevant pressure. Enough to push towers down if they get a lead. Like, they're not gonna have to be wary of Tip if they get a lead. Just like Tip's not really gonna have to be wary of their their comp if they get a lead in this sort of situation. So this is interesting to fight. This is going to be what everyone's talking about. This is your standard front lines. You know, they hit each other. You got two mid lane bursts coming down at big AoE bursts. They're probably going to try to target the carries, but you never know. They might just hit the group to get as much damage as possible. And you're going to have your 80 carries in the back shooting at them. Both teams are going to have sort of a similar goal. I think a lot of this, if we're watching these fights that are going to happen in this game, most of this is going to be determined on does Orianna or does Victor get their ult on the carries? Or do they use their ult and kill a carry? I shouldn't say get their ult on a carry. Do they actually kill a carry? Because if they kill one of the 80 carries, it's got to be the 80 carries. If they can kill one of the 80 carries, then it's going to shift the whole fight to the other team. One team's gonna they're gonna be even. Once a carry's down, they're all just gonna collapse, and the other team's gonna take over. And that's kind of the big thing that needs to happen. You really need the mid laners to go really aggressive in this and try to get the carries, because neither one really has a strong shielding and damage prevention. So I feel like CLG would really want Afromove to deal with Gate somehow, but Afromove's gonna protect double lift. It means Zion, Spartan, and Smithy are gonna have to dive in there. This is weird. There's not a whole lot of clear cut like this is how you do it with either of these comps, other than dropping. You want to burst the 80 carry, because if the mid laner uses all his major bursts and the 80 carry is still alive, mid laner's got like nothing that he can use to fight the 80 carry without a lot of support from the team, and assuming the other team has their support guys up too, and it's gonna be a rough situation. These fights, they're so similar. So let's just go mid ult on carry. Mid ult on carry for both people. Carries need to be strong too. So if we just go back and look at some of these champions, if we look at some of these champions and stuff that we get here, we go back to sort of the previous things, previous categories. Tip's got some major advantages there. Engage doesn't really matter, but the pressure and poke is going to be pretty useful in the late game. Along with the fact that Victor's burst, and since the whole team fight is going to rely on these bursts, Victor's burst is a lot stronger than Orianna's burst, so we're giving them an edge for that. I'm not really talking about who's ahead, because that's not going to matter. That doesn't matter for the picks and bans, because both people could get ahead. And Tip kind of has like marginal advantages across the board in this game. I think that's going to justify like a 60 to 65% win rate for Tip. But a lot of this hinges on Gate, and so just from picks and bans, I feel like Tip has a stronger chance to win. We're going 65, but a lot of this relies on Gate, and you know, also good engages by Zion and Impact. So Tip could get some nice engages on double lift and Gate follow up, but Tip has the better comp, stronger burst, more. Yeah, the tools they have are a little bit better than CLG's tools, and that's pretty much it.